Elaborate na tayo sa. Okay, that's it. Now, to proceed with the next, oh no, to proceed with our next juncture of our program, let us welcome the JPSME president for the welcoming remarks. She is no other than Miss Joyce Almadia. A virtual round of applause, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jan Lloyd. Thank you so much. So once again, every time jud ni mag-program, I want to use the virtual background but my camera di siya mo sugot. If virtual background na ako, maapil ko ka background. So to siya, good afternoon guys. Good afternoon everyone. Especially to our ever supportive chair sa ME department, Mr. Roberto Base. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for always answering and attending to our calls and concerns. And also to all the students that are here with us this afternoon. Good afternoon, guys. Gamay rang tao kay kanang nasa tay kanang murag kadungan nga event sa ME. We're also conducting Mitalino sa other nga years. So some of the ME students are there and it's a good thing. And thank you so much sa katong mga free nga MEs that naka-attend pud mo karon this afternoon. And I hope all the concerns and the questions that were submitted kay matagaan na siya answers and yeah, kanang ma-enlighten na sad ang students. And also I hope ma-clarify na sad ang katong inyong mga kalibog. And we have here our chair kay para matubag siya. So thank you so much guys. So I hope everyone will stay with up until the end kay para makadungog sa ang tanan sa questions and answers. So that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much Adbanto. So I'll give back the floor to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much Ate Ice for that wonderful welcoming address. So karon guys, ang mahitabo day karong adlaw is you were sent by a little links of a survey which provides us with an options to raise some inquiries, especially to our chair, which is the Iron Man of the JPSME department. And I hope that this day that you will be able to understand the current situation of our department. Also, I will be requesting everyone that all of your questions to be pulled later. We will be collecting that. You can actually chat it in our chat box, or if ever you have some additional inquiries, and it will be open at the end of our program during the question and answer portion, or the yeah. So anyways, so now we'll proceed with the next official program, which is the discussion proper. So next slide, please. So this new policy concern. So this one will be answered by, this is going to become, this will be explained by our JPSME president because there are some major announcements regarding this supposedly questions prepared specifically for this topic. So Miss Ice, please turn on your microphone and camera.
So good afternoon, everyone. So we received a greater fraction of the concerns that we received through the forms of the Talk with ME are regarding the new policy concerns. Katong blue memo that we've circulate last few days. Then since Tina, the official desk of our university, answered some of the very important questions or concerns of the students regarding the new policy. So we decided, the JPSME decided nga, since ang katong mga concerns nga na-receive na mo sa forms kay kanang halos tanan sila kay ma-answer na gani sa katong mga tubag ni Tina or sa mga question ni Tina. So sa answers ni Tina, so sa mga wala day nakakita pa sa post ni Tina or sa post sa kanang CIT, kay you can always visit the official page, FB page of our university, since gipost dito nakapin siya ang mga questions ni Tina sa frequently asked questions to students regarding the new policy. So that's why kanang daghan ang questions nga or concerns nga dili na lang nato i-tackle today since na-answer na ni Tina. But may I ask basin kanang si Sir Base if kanang naa siya i-announce or kanang clarifications lang po regarding the new policy. Kanang, sir, naara kay iingon, sir, or kanang okay na jud to katina, sir.
Thank you, Ice, and thank you for
Good
inviting
afternoon,
me.
sir.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, JL.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for having me here. It's very important that we're going to have a venue like this in order to clarify some issues and help you be enlightened about these issues and concerns. Now, I'd like to inform the body, those who are here and those who could watch this recorded video, that prior to the release of the guidelines, the Supreme Student Government officers were invited. They were there. I'd like to clarify. I'd like to specifically mention that because there is an impression, my God, in all posts that the SG were not invited, and all of a sudden there is a new policy on the use of devices or mirror. Okay, so actually they were invited from the very start. Of course, the people who formulated those guidelines are the members of the council, which I am a member. Okay, and I can attest to that. I think twice or three times that the officers of SG were there. Okay, looking at those statements or those provisions in the guidelines for their comments. All right. And I remember that the officers always mention every time we'll have a meeting with them, they will always mention dapat there will be provision on leniency. Okay, which is also already there in the guidelines. Okay, naigi dapat provision leniency, considering that not all students can comply all those requirements because our students are of different level of, different strata in our society. And we understand that, and we know that by heart. Okay, and that is why it's in the guidelines. There is a provision about leniency. Now, second, I'd like to also mention this because it was not mentioned by the officers in their posts in the social media. I'd like to mention this, that the mirror thing, the mirror came from them. It was them who suggested that one. It's not from us. And yet they have not countered or answered those memes by making a clarification. It was them who made that suggestion. Okay, so that's, for me as a member of the council and as an administrator, that's unfair. That's unfair because they keep themselves silent about that. People are making fun out of it when in fact that suggestion came from them. All right, and of course, it's always a practice of the administration that before we release a policy for people to observe, the concerned people and their representatives or their representatives are consulted. They're always consulted. So, and I think the SSG did not literally mention that they are being consulted in the start of all of this noise, but they did not literally mention that they were consulted and that they agreed to the provisions in those guidelines. And that's why, in my opinion, it's also unfair. All right, because they were consulted. Yeah, and that you did not, when the students said, "Oh, why is it all of a sudden this thing is released without the consultation with the students?" Then actually we were consulted, okay, and we agreed to the terms. Okay, so again and again, I want to assure the body, you officers, future leaders of our country, that should be the procedure when we, that should be always the procedure when we're going to release new policy. All sectors, members of the community, through their representatives, I'd like to specify this, through their representatives, and the representatives of the students are the SSG officers. Am I right? Because they represent you. They represent you. So therefore, in my opinion, we did what is right. Okay, we did what is right. So we invited the officers in several occasions to discuss those guidelines, and they just always mention there should be provisions on leniency. I can remember that they mentioned that several times, and that's the reason why it's in there. And the mirror thing was their suggestion, not from us. Okay, ang first gila to suggestion is katong to device. Of course, na the objection, right? Mo tiningon ng SSG nga, we are not comfortable with that. That's not the exact word, but it seems like left a message. Now that is not doable because of the the different kinds of students that we have in our university. Di man ta parehas sa bang university ng mga dato mga estudyante, and we know that by heart. And so that's why we asked them during the first meeting. We asked them, can you give us suggestions, okay, in order to at least comply, so that students can comply. So meaning the suggestion should come from the student. So therefore we have an assumption that the students can comply to that because it comes from the students' representatives. And the mirror thing, again, I'd like to say this, came from them. All right. And it looks like they are now, keeping themselves away from that. And wala kay sila. I don't know this time. I have not read the post now, but in the first few days, 2 days, they did not defend that it came from them, and that's unfair. I think that's all for now. And we'll continue by when nalilay issues. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Sir Rob. So kanang in connection with that, sir, kay naay kanang murag usa na lang ka concern nga murag nahabiling karon for regarding that one, sir. Then ako basahan, sir. Kanang
Yes.
since Tina stated that the students have an option to not comply to the policy this midterm, I would like to ask if the ME department will still push with the implementation of the policy sa kaning major exam. So that's
Okay.
it. Thank you, sir.
Now, it's also timely that I'll give you the answer for that, because this morning I had a meeting with the members of the faculty, and I also mentioned about this. Because in my first post sa department, actually, when I told them about the guidelines, and then I told them that let's start employing this midterm, and then after a few minutes, I erased that statement. Okay, I removed that after reading thoroughly the guidelines. I think that one problem with many people, both students and faculty, they don't thoroughly read the guidelines. That's a problem. Okay, and that is why people has the tendency to be selective, quoting a portion of the guidelines to capitalize and to make noise. And that is a problem. That's always a problem nowadays. So kana bang selective kay kinirang portion na kung tanawon option 1 na ko niya ako i-capitalize ni nga this is anti-poor and so on and so forth. That's unfair again, because there are 3 options for that. Now going to this question, are we going to push this during the midterm? No. But however, we encourage the members of faculty to make a dry run, manggod, because the midterm examination is intended for the dry run. The dry run means that we'll have a feel. Let's all have a feel, and when we try to employ that one, but it's not compulsory. So meaning the students has the option not to follow using the gadgets or the mirror during the midterm examination, but are encouraged. I would rather suggest by saying to all of you, you convey this message to other ME students. I'm talking about the MA na, bahala na ito ubang estudyante, pero I'm concerned of the ME students. Now, when there is a policy, let's try to observe, okay? But again, it's not compulsory during midterm, okay? It's only intended for dry run. But however, I suggest that you will also cooperate or try to have a feel about this, have an experience on your own, para we can also draw feedback from you. Because the purpose of the dry run is to know the feedback. What are the feedback from the students and including the members of the faculty? Basis for review, for the revisiting of the guidelines. So in other words, wa magi palisiya maski sa gobyerno, no, sa mga balaod na to nga kung ano gid siya, hangtod na siya. So there are some point in time na a policy, a guideline, or a law will be revisited for revision purposes because it's not somehow probably doable or not anymore relevant, something like that. So that's the purpose of the dry run during the midterm. We want to draw feedback, comments, suggestions from students and members of the faculty, which can be helpful when we revisit the policy and probably revise it, okay, before it will be fully implemented. So again, I'd like to say, please consider na lang joining the dry run para ikaw mismo nakakagulingon ng experience. All right? It's not compulsory. And so therefore, in relation to that, it's not a requirement for you to apply for extension because it's not a requirement yet. Okay? So there's a notion, Manggod, and I believe SSG is also doing a campaign on that because they want to come up with a, what is this, a template of the letter of exemption because they want to use that by midterm. There's no need for that for now because the midterm is a dry run only. So maybe I believe the exemption will only apply when it will be pushed through na yun ang pag-implement sa guidelines. That is after the midterm, no? But prior to that, there will be a review. So probably there will be changes. I'm not saying naging changes, but maybe there will be changes, okay, based on the suggestions and experiences and comments from the students and members of the faculty. So that's only when we'll revisit thoroughly the guidelines and for possible revisions. So there's no need, again, I'd like to say this, there is no need to submit letter of exemption for these midterm examinations. There is no, capital NO, need for that. All right? So we will use that only once a full implement na ang guidelines. All right? I hope that's clear to everyone. So dili compulsory. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Sir Base. Sir, pwede ko mo ask og additional question, sir? Marag kanang curious rapod ko kanang sa concept, sir ba? If ang initial plan gani atong ko answer like inspection sa room kay itagsatagsa ba sa students, sir, before exam ang katong initial plan lang, sir, if kanang ever
Katong scan, environmental scan?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
or
sir.
room scan. All right. Yes. That's let me ask John Lloyd. John Lloyd, why do you think that's included in the policy?
Come again, sir.
Why do you think environmental scan or room scan is included or stated in the policy or in that guidelines? What do you think is the mind of the policymaker?
It's probably to ensure that there is full transparency in the table of the student to prevent, again, the highlighted issue, which is cheating, I guess.
Thank you, John Lloyd. You said it very well. Actually, that's the root of all of this. The environmental scan is to ensure that you don't have other unneeded, I mean, not allowed, rather. You don't have those not allowed materials on your desk and on the walls, okay? And that's why there is an environmental scan. Now, the question of ICE is, are students required, each of them, to do the scan before an examination? Now, I believe that is, in my opinion, as a teacher also, it will take so much of our time, right? And mahurutan yung panahon to para lang, okay, Ice, can you please now hold your camera for environmental scan? Okay, to the left, to the right, down, up, okay. All right, next. Thank you. How about you, Aubrey? Just imagine if you have 50 students in the class. It takes so much of our time. So I told the members of the faculty, instead of requiring each of your students, do random checking only. So I would say, let's for example, for now, well, ako example lang ni. Okay, let's have 5 students only. Let's start with Harry. Harry, can you please have environmental scan? All right. Okay, thank you. How about you, Mark? And okay, Regine and Lexi and then Christian. Okay, that's it. Okay, so let's start the examination. Okay, now the issue there actually that being raised by students is the invasion of privacy. I think that's where the issue is prosper. Before we put that in the guidelines, we consulted lawyers. Okay, of course, the chairperson of the council is a lawyer herself, but maybe she's not. Maybe should I say? How should I say it? Maybe he's not very familiar of the data privacy law. And that's why we referred it to someone who's in charge of that. So we have actually a lawyer in CIT. Her name is Attorney Sukatan, who is in charge on the compliance of CIT to the data privacy law. And so we referred that to her, and she gave us the go signal that it's okay. All right. So, well, that's a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. So she said yes, and therefore meaning it's in compliance to the law. So we're not going to do it all students, probably randomly. Kung ako na, I'll do it randomly. Yes, were I able to answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So that's all the concerns for the new policy. And now we can now go to our next category of concerns, which will be presented by JL Abanto. So
Thank you so much, Ate As, and thank you so much for answering the inquiry on the new policy, Engineer Roberto P. Yes, Roberto P. Anyways, let me recognize one of the faculties who is able to attend on our ME Talks today. She is a faculty on our department and also one of the advisor of the JPSME. She is no other than Engineer Sheila Marie Bering. Good afternoon, ma'am. Okay, so
Hello, good afternoon.
thank you for attending, ma'am. Okay, now for our teachers' concerns. So the first question is, okay. So concern number one, the teacher just provide us with the PDF and YouTube videos and give activities right away without any discussions from his or her part. So what is your take on this, Sir Basse?
Is this true for ME department? Or is this from other departments? Because as far as I'm concerned, I always emphasize that to the members of the faculty not to do that. In fact, I told them to have more synchronous meetings, although there is a policy on that, 70-30 or 60-40. But I always told them to meet their students regularly. But so far as I'm concerned, in my observation, when I visited their classes, well, man, synchronous man yun. So that's why I asked that question. Is it sa ME? If it is ME, John Lloyd, and all of you here, please name names. Okay, in my opinion, it's unfair to generalize that one, and the issue cannot be addressed well if it's a general. Okay, so I would rather suggest, and many times I mentioned this to Michael now with Ice. I don't know with Ice ever mentioned this to you, Ice, but for Michael, I'm sure that I mentioned that mas maayo you name names because that's the best way how to address an issue. Okay? Kaya ako, kung mag-meeting ko, say ako i-general, no? Ako i-tiratan na nila na issue, for example, kini. And I will, during a meeting in the faculty, and I will tell the faculty, oh, here's a complaint from a student. Then ang nasa mind tayo sa faculty, kinsa man na, dili man na ako. So di na ako ma-address siya yun totally. So I suggest that if you have experience with your teachers doing not the right thing as far as you are concerned, I encourage you to name names and send that to me privately. I can assure you that I can protect your identity, and I can assure you that I will address your concern. Michael, I believe Michael can attest to that. That after he forwarded to me the last school year names of faculty, I immediately called the attention of the faculty. Okay, and I only gave a feedback to Michael. Michael is showing reaction, so attesting that is true. So I can assure you, I can address the problem, I can address the concern if you can name names.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I believe that this is a general question, sir, because you have already stated that maybe nasagol ni siya ka inquiry sa general pool baron nga mga teacher nga maybe practicing this kind of action.
I have read this many times already, John Lloyd, in sa post sa social media, no, na yung mga inani. So mo na mag-wonder ko, is it ME? Because my primary concern is the ME department, and I don't like the ME, any member of the faculty of ME will be highlighted as such, no, and that is a slap on our face. So as much as possible, I see to it nga the members of the faculty are conforming to what is right, no, in holding classes. Although we are not perfect, we are not really that good, I admit that. Okay, di man giminana ka maayog yun, but at least at some extent, na-effort ba? Na-effort. But as the assistant dean of the college, this is a good input, no? Because we will tackle this in a college level. That's why even during the time when we invited the members of the officers of SSG sa council, sa academic council meetings, they also throw some issues, and there are faculty who are not meeting their classes. Just imagine, one of the officers mentioned that throughout the semester, sige lang hatag materials, wag yun mag-synchronous meetings. Why discussion of the how to solve the problems, okay, and then discuss mga topics. Wala yun. Yeah, pangutanong nimo. Can you please tell us what is the name of the instructor? Di man lang imusulti. That's the problem there. How could we address it if you have not given us enough information? So I suggest to all officers here and ME students who are joining us in this meeting, now if you observe that at any member of the faculty, not limited only to the ME department, now that I am also now leading the college, name names. That's the best way how to address the issue. Name names, because we will surely call the attention of the faculty, have a conference with that person, and hoping that next time he will not do it again. Name names is the key here. Thank you, John Lloyd.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So I believe that this question is already addressed. So can we proceed to our next question or concern? Okay, so concern number 2, almost all of the subjects gave activities and assignments with the same date of deadlines. So what is your take on this, sir? Because I believe that this is a major problem, especially now in the student body, because we are already bombarded with deadlines.
Yeah, I understand. Even in a face-to-face setup, there's still a possibility that deadlines of submission requirements will follow the same date for different or a number of subjects that you are enrolled. That's still a possibility. Now, the problem here is, I think, how could we know that a member of faculty, I will na lang siguro, maybe I can, and it's very variable, it's variable thing, because you are not in a block section. So that's why when the pandemic started, during the first summer, I pushed for a block sectioning, because when you say block sectioning, it will be easier to monitor, monitor students, faculty, and concerns, the progress and how it's being addressed. It will be easier that way. Karon laylahay mo og section. So if one student in one class nag-issue na siya og deadline, you submit this on Monday. Then the next class will say on a Monday gihapon. So how could we monitor that one? But the beauty thing now, I mean the good thing for now is that our classes or number of subjects is divided into 2, no? Okay, because of the clustering system. So it means that siguro kung may magdungan, it would be 2 or 3. Kay TTH man ang uban, MWF ang uban. So kung naa may magdungan, 2 or 3 ragyo na maximum in a day ka magdungan. All right? And although I also understand that the submission is not the same time of the day. Gilanay mo klase. If you're in my class 8:30 to 10:30, then the deadline should be 8:30 to 10:30 in that case. Okay? If the faculty chose to extend that, the deadline is to extend that on 12 midnight, don't make noise by saying, grabe ang mistuha, mo deadline mo alas 12 gabi, di na makatug ang mga estudyante niya na, tempa. That's already an extension. The deadline is during class hours. All right, so it's to 8 to 10. But if you want to submit later, it's okay. But it doesn't mean that you have to stay late at night in order to submit the requirement on a 12-minute. Kinahimo mo ng comment in one of the parents ba sa senior high school. Ngayon siya nga, kuya, awa mabaistro sa mga CIT ba? In English, di ko ka-recall doon sa pag sulti. But the reklamo ba parents that why is it that the members of the faculty of CIT in the senior high school require the students to submit the requirements at 12 midnight? When in fact, that was a grace period. Okay? So the deadline is during class hours. The deadline should be always during class hours. And so I could imagine it doesn't mean nga magpareha sila og time of the day of submission. So it would be a different time of the day of submission. And extension would be a grace period, which is a favor given to the students, and that should not be an issue. Kinahimo mo ng issues in your high school parent pa, and I don't like the way she said those things. Wa siya kasabot, okay? But siguro kayo sila explain niya. All right. But again here, I don't know how to monitor that one and address that concern because you are of different sections. If it is only siguro a block sectioning, which I'd like to push, okay, every enrollment period, now you have to observe block sectioning because that's the best way of monitoring also the class size and the number of sections. That's why na conflicts, conflict of schedules, na issues. That is because the students are not following the block sectioning scheme. Mama ni problema. You choose your first subject in section P1, the other is section P2, section P3 isa. So, dako kay chance, which dako kay chance nga nay conflict na unya sa tong medyo na late pag enroll, no? Maski di pa puno ang mga sections, but conflict naman, so maglisod na siya, puno na day, uban day, muna na conflict. So, muna ma-conflict niya ang mga schedules. If only nag-block sectioning po siya, so lessen ang atong problem on conflict of schedule. Naaman, bro, very few na lang kaayo. Okay, kaya na may subjects nga 40 ra, na uban, more than 30 plus, depende mo sa subject. But I think the best solution there is block sectioning because we can easily monitor and the scheduling would be well arranged and not well, okay, because you can also observe na really well. That's the reason why you choose the other section. So ay paagi supposedly if only it's a block sectioning. But in this case, I don't know. Suggestion that comes from you will be kining sini happily kanang sini dawaton ba. Let us know what's your suggestion on that because ako I don't know because I don't monitor my faculty nga naghatag assignment ron naghatag kagkuan ron. I don't do that because they have their freedom to do that. So I don't know, tell me if you have suggestion on that and how are we going to do that. Magbuhat ng Google form nga ang maestro o nag-assign ko assignment for subject this one ibutan niya sa Google form tanaw ng maestro uban nag-schedule sa direct submission di ko mag-schedule. Is that what you want to happen or you have better suggestions? Okay, I'm sure ang mga members of faculty pag hibaw na mingon sila ka grabe sa ninyo oy nanas bihatagan na po nimong laing trabaho mag-monitor na po lain. I believe that will, you know, as human as we are na magunda basta na something new na the resistance. Okay, let me know what will be your suggestion on concern number 2 because ako personally now actually I don't know, to be honest with you, because I give freedom to the members of faculty when to do this and to do that. And monitoring, I don't do monitor one by one by asking them naghatag kag quiz, naghatag kag submission, deadline submission. We don't do that ever since, even during the face-to-face pa lang, because it's a freedom. It's a prerogative of the teacher when. Okay. But let me know lang. Sige, ma-address nato na ba if you have suggestion. Let me know. John Lloyd.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I believe maybe this concern is stemming from the volume of activity per subject, sir. Dili guro ka ng activity nga one. Like, namang kayo ubang subject, sir, nga mahatag ka ng like 3 activities, same good silang deadline. Like,
Okay.
for example, na ako isa ka subject ron for that day. Yan na po ko isa tulo ka subject for that day. Ang isa ana niya ka subject sir kay maghatag og tulo ka activity, ang isa baron kay maghatag og duha. So mapulog gud siya sir nga mahimog like 5 ka buok among himuon or 6 ka buok among himuon on that same deadline.
John Lloyd, I encourage you to name. Don't worry.
Okay ra sir. Okay.
Si Ma'am Sheila ra man din.
Okay na sir, thank you so much. So I guess that is your concern, and I guess
that's noted, General. I can assure the body that that's noted, and I will discuss that with the members of faculty in our next meeting.
Okay, sige. Thank you, sir. Follow-up questions kay amo lang iusahon sir sa kanang kinalason nga portion sir ha. So na mabalik sa katong mga previous nga mga concerns nga na again.
Yes, it's okay with me.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So now for our next concern. Concern number 3. 100% synchronous classes is indeed good as he tried his best to discuss all the lessons, and we really appreciate it. However, he gives lots of course requirements with short deadlines. Yet, this is not our only subject for this cluster. With this, we ask for a time during our schedule to do his requirement for we don't have lots of free time. We also have other classes and things to do in our other subjects. Hoping that you'll consider this one. I guess this is specified to a certain instructor or something, pero wala pa guro ng state sir, maghatag ra guro ang officers karon nimo soon.
Sige. All right. And that's noted also. I understand. I understand your predicament. I will tackle that also during the next faculty meeting. So, but again and again, naming names will be very helpful.
Good afternoon, Sir Bob. Well,
Yes, Ice.
it's okay ra guro sir no nga kanang after this one kay mo send lang pud ko nimo og PM sa kanang
Oh,
murag
yes.
general concern with the kanang concerned teacher or body
Yes,
para
yes, yes.
yes. Okay. Thank you,
Nindot na
sir.
siya, Ice. Let's do it that way para ma-address yun na to ang concern. Kung
Yes,
ba
sir.
hitting the target ba? So, bullseye yun. Dili kay ratsada lang. Ilisod kayo na ratsada lang. So, thank you, thank you. That's a good initiative.
Sige, thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, no? And I hope sana, sir, nga tagaan siya to siya address kay, na-appeal jud niya ato, sir.
Oh.
Okay, so our concern number 4.
Classmate ta, sir.
Classmate. Classmate. I know whom you're referring to.
Okay, so our concern number 4, the concerned teacher always ends his classes late. We hope that he'll end his classes on time since we also have classes to attend after this. I believe this is
referring to the same instructor?
Dili ko sure, sir, if mao bang instructor pero nay kanang nay inana sa usahay. Pero
Yeah,
sige,
that's a valid concern. We should have to inform the members of the faculty. Kaya usay ganahan na siguro mag-istorya. Ganang namagot yung mga members of the faculty or department who are very passionate of their job. Kaya kada bang gusto sila mo pour out what they've learned. They also love to be with their students. So na yung inana nga members of the faculty. And that's why sometimes makalimot sila nga, uy, time naman di ay. Okay? All right. Sige lang, that's a valid concern. We will inform the faculty.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, naamog yung sir mag-start on time pero we'll end late. Pero yeah. Okay, so our next concern is our Socksci teacher does not teach us anything. He just gives us these PDFs and even then the answers to his quiz aren't found in the PDFs.
Okay. So that's also a valid concern. And teachers should not be like that, no? Again, Ice, if you can contact the person who shared this concern, get the name so that we can hit the target yet of addressing the concern.
Regarding this, sir, ba, I read this sa PDL sa form nga at na-send sa amoa. The murag ang teacher, sir, kay dili ME but ME ang student nga ga-send ka ng is okay ra, sir, ako gyapon
Okay ra. Again, I'm a member of the council.
Okay.
Academic council, and I am the assistant dean of the college. So dako ang area nga makover nato in addressing concerns. So I'd rather choose nga nag-name kay para specific.
Okay, sir. Noted, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So sa follow-up na guro ta na questions, JL. Sure. JL.
Okay, let's go to our follow-up. Wala na ilaing concerns ani Ate Ice after, so follow-up questions na ta.
Muna ni siya last sa katong category. So okay na ta sa follow-up question.
Okay. So, I guess that is our last concerns for the teachers or the faculty that may belong or may not belong to the admin department. So our next topic for this afternoon will be discussed and will be facilitated by Miss President Joyce Almudiel.
Abans dili to nato i-ask ang mga questions nga bag-o na kaan kato regarding ani nga sa subjects gihapon.
Wait, sige, wait. Ato daw ikuan. Ato set pa na nga to ang group chat if naaba sila lagi pang hatag ng mga comments and suggestions or kanang follow-up questions.
Sir, murag one sa questions nga gi-raise sa body sir kay kanang time daw naaba daw tay murag standard time nga ihatag per question gani sir since some of the exams kay daghan ang items then gamay ra ang time so kanang pwede ba daw na sir na mag-implement ta nga naay standard time sa different type of tests.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. Ma'am Chin, please remind me of those things nga that I told them nga ako i-tackle sa next faculty meeting. Help me, ma'am, ha? Okay,
Yes.
that's a good suggestion. I will thank you, Ma'am Chin. I will also tackle that with the members of the faculty. However, before that will happen, in my opinion, kung ko na siya, usually in my experience, probably I'm sure the same with Ma'am Chin, the time allocated for a test item, that depends on the nature, the degree of difficulty of a test item. Kana kung by test item ang pag-assign sa time allotment, no? O kung iyang i-general siya, dapat parehag nature sa question. For example, if elements, tanan, pwede rin natin na iratsada at the same time. Pero kung mix siya, elements and problems, imo ipareha silang time, that's not fair. Because elements require less time, in my opinion. Okay, more man siya memory recall. But ang problem requires more time because you have to comprehend first. Of course, tanan comprehension, but in that case, you have to interpret the problem, identify the given, identify the unknown, and then find the best tool. When I say tool, the equation that you're going to use to solve the problem. So, what I'm saying is, kung mixed siya, it should not be of the same time. Ang iyang setting it should be different. That's why there should be part 1 and part 2, no? Kung mao manggaling na, it should not be one. Kung mag-mix manggaling, dapat ang time niya allotment for each test item should be ang basis is the problem, not the elements or the objective type. It should be a problem. So if a problem pinakataas nga problem, pinakalisod nga problem, kini nga problem nag-require ni siya og 5 minutes. So dapat ratsa 5 minutes. Kung kanang isa ra ka setting, no? So dili kay imuhimong 3 minutes nga may isa ka problem nga 5 minutes ang requirement to solve, di ba? So example lang na siya. So I think that's the direction on our discussion with the members of the faculty on that matter.
Okay. So I guess that is it for the follow-up questions, sir, no? I hope lang matagaan siya dito og kanang proper time allotment for the specific parts of the examination, sir, because among guys, sir, certain items nga kanang need jud siya og kanang thorough inspection and thorough understanding, sir, labi na for example kanang mag-solving na for solutions that mag-require siya og calculations kay na usay, sir, kay randomize mo gud ang sa among Moodle, sir, no? Naka-full tanan, sir, ba ya mag-una ang katong na yung mga ubang students nga maunahan gud sila sa mga lisod kay nga questions kay calculations tanan pagsugod. That is also speaking from experience, sir, kay nakaagi ko na niya. Frustrating kayo, sir, kay makaana gud ka nga saya nga oy may pinag-una na lang ni nga question da kay ma-answeran pa ni nako.
Hurot na imong time.
Nahurot na inoon sa
Dali na lang ta.
calculus ya. May tagsakto sayo wrong sad baro ba. So mo na, sir.
Yeah, I understand, John Lloyd. Thank you for raising that one. I promise you that I will tackle that in our next faculty meeting for uniformity and giving justice also and fairness sa examination. So, Ma'am Chin, again, please remind me, Ma'am, ha? May kinaaka karon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So I guess at the eyes, mag-start na ta sa ato ang open forum, which should be facilitated by Ms. Ais Almodial gihapon ng ato ang facilitator aning open forum, no?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Abanto. Thank you so much, Sir Base, sa mga answers. Murag nag-multitask ta karon kay kanang kasagaran sad sa mga batchmates and other officers kay nga gitap for hosting kay kanang busy. So busy jud tanan, so like sumoto nag multitask. Thank you gyapon kaayo. So we're now here on our open forum. So if the body or anyone in the room has questions or naamoy ganahan ipa-clarify, kay please feel free to unmute yourselves kay samtang naa pa si Sir Base para madali pa og kanang kuan answer atong concern. So ay mo kaulaw og kuan. So while everyone is still formulating, kay okay ra mo basa ra ko, sir, sa kanang napoy ni chat, sir, ba ipa-raise siya nga concern to, sir, kanang will it be possible ba daw, sir, nga feel ko, sir, kay kuan ni siya, sir, kanang as kanang dili ra sa ME department siya need kanang i-foresee gani, sir, kanang pwede ba daw nato i-calculate or sukdon, sir, ba kung pila ang kanang faculty nga mag exam samot na sa major exam daw, sir, kanang magpa-exam sa midterms or kanang finals sa usa ka day si para dili na lang ma 504 nga gateway sir ba so murag mag-scheduling
Oh,
na ganit sir.
okay. We understand that we really have a problem with our Moodle, no? Mga gini problema. I'm wondering why until now it's not being solved. Although update lang, before for 1 year, for example, siguro approximately 1 year, the ones managing the Moodle are the CCS people, Ma'am Larmy, Sir Dr. Aliak, Dr. Larmy, Dr. Aliak, and then the TSG, no? So they are the ones managing the Moodle, and as we have observed, there's a lot of issues. It's always gateway error. Yeah. Finally, this semester, they hired a third party. They hired a consultant. No, hindi consultant, but third party to solve the problem. So that is why we had last Wednesday katong Moodle stress test. Okay, that was actually a request from the third party to test the system, or to test the architecture of their system if makakaya na ba, and then we all experience what happened. All right, so and because of that feedback, they are working again, going back to the drawing board, finding the fault. Okay, hopefully this will be made ready before the midterm examination will start next week, no? That would be what date kanito? 24 ba to? So ang pitsahan? Magsugod? Kalimot mo ko.
Murag around 23 to 25 sir or 24 to 26 na limot sa
So anyway, 23 or 24. So before that date, hopefully masolve na ang problema. And if you have, probably it's known already to you that starting this midterm, the number of days for the midterm examination is already stretched for a 1 week period. Unlike before, ang midterm or finals is only 3 days siguro to. 3 days, ana. But now it's a 1 week, meaning 7 days. Okay? So, tanawa daw ang calendar na to, di ba? Nakabutan ito, itong memo di ay na post na sa FB na it's a 1 week long examination. Ang purpose na ginana is to stagger approximately evenly all the classes, no, on a day. So hopefully with that approach, it will help address the issue, no? Hopefully. Okay, we don't know yet. Let's see. Let's cross the bridge when we get there. I don't know what would be the result, but at least there are actions made. And that's one of those remedies. Motong scattered ang mga klase, so di na magdungan-dungan tanan, no? So hopefully this will address the issue. Hopefully, okay. And if that will not work, by finals na po, na sila yung buhaton na, so I'm sure of that, because that's a problem that they need to solve. Somebody, one of the members of the faculty, during our meeting this morning, mentioned nga, wala mang problema ang UC. They are using also Moodle. Wala sila mang problema dito. Do you have friends there? Can you also attest that that's true? Yeah, wala problema dito?
Nakoy friends sir then kanang wala sila niingon nga way problema sir pero wala sila niingon nga na problem pero pwede ra may maka-ask po nila sir if mag gateway ba sila pero wala ra sila ga-mention ana po sir.
Probably they are not using it yun base, no? From time to time lang sila magamit o depende po sa maestro. Maybe they are using other platforms like Google Classroom, something like that. May issue kayong Google Classroom. But anyway, I can assure you that the admin is into that. That's the reason why they hired a third party to work and solve the problem. Hopefully they can address that. But definitely they are into it. And sorry for these delays pag-address, no, pag-solve sa problem. Even us, members of the faculty, at some level or some degree are disappointed actually, because all of us really want to use Moodle extensively. We are not comfortable actually with MS Forms or MS Teams na examination. we would rather prefer to use Moodle because of the test bank facility, which is very helpful in order to minimize cheating or to ensure integrity in the results of the examination. That's one of the tools. But sadly, na-issue ang Moodle nato. Hopefully, ma-address na nila. Sorry for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So another question, sir, from a anonymous sender. Nag-ask siya, sir, nga, since i-implement naman dyan daw ang memo, marelax na ba ang time restrictions during examinations? Kay naamog yung ubang instructors daw, sir, na mohatag og overwhelming numbers of question during exams, given that ma-monitor naman dyan nila ang students during examinations.
That's a good point that you raised also, no? Okay, usa sa reason nga nung task o nilang ilang number of test items around there's no, I mean, malimited ng time for cheating. I understand that, and that's the reason why. But with the guidelines now, I think it's only fair na significantly decrease po the number of test items, knowing na nanay mga measures put in place. No? I will tackle that also during the faculty meeting, and Ma'am Chin will help me be reminded of that. Yeah, that's noted. I'd like to encourage those who are in here to raise, to tell me, to ask questions. Like for example, si Harry, Lexi, you ask questions. Ay kaulaw, good. Anything that's in your mind, those things that are bothering you, okay? You ask those questions while buhi pa ko. Sige, go. Joseph, Victor, Joseph, may pangutana ni mo dong.
Hi sir, miss you.
Joseph, sige, Joseph, na kayo pangutana dong? Of course, you can chat, ha? And so that John or Ice could read it for you. Pwede ra na siya. Pero mas may na mong sulti juga kaya makuha na akong emotion ba? Nindot bati ra magbasa kaysa maminaw yun, no? Sa istorya, di ba? Sa source yun ba? Lahi ra kay sahay pagbasa na to di mao nga emotions sa atong gibutang. So mo nang di kay ma-emphasize, di kay masabtan. Zar on, raise sa hand si Zar. Kana yun, sige Zar na tiya.
Good afternoon, Sir Basse. Curious lang ko, sir, kay since encourage man ang students, sir, if mo follow sila sa new policy for the exam, sir, kay what if, sir, ay kanang depende rin na sa faculty, sir, nga kanang mo set siya nga example kanina exam is mag on cam ang students nya what if, sir, kanang night time, sir, nga murag dili jud ma-comply sa students, sir, kay unsay mabuhat, unsay possible nga effect, sir, kanang murag
Okay.
ang anak, sir.
Of course, sa midterm exam, it's not compulsory, no? Because ang purpose nato sa midterm examination is for to dry run purposes siya. Because we want to have a feedback from you and from the teachers based on their experience, okay? And then hopefully that will lead to the revision of the guidelines. So that's one thing that you should always remember. It's not compulsory for midterm, but students are encouraged to participate para you can also say something. Lisod kayo nang di ka participate, so kung mag-istorya nimo, maka-experience, no? And then second, maybe after the midterm, we have to wait for possible revision of the guidelines. Okay, I'm expecting, no? Ako personally, I'm expecting that there will be possible revisions of the guidelines. So I think the best thing that we can do now is to wait for that. So what is important here is the midterm examination dry run. Kaya mo na siya itong input manggod. So mo na ko nga encourage you to participate. So ang maestro, hindi siya ka-force nimo kung hindi ka na mag-participate, no? Sa midterm, okay ra na siya. That will not be, we will not hold that against you. Okay, you have the freedom to do that. But as to the full implementation of the guidelines, I would say siguro for now na let's not talk about it yet. Why? Because dagi revision hitabo. Kay mag-base man sa inyong input unya. Okay, kung na revision, so the guidelines that are already being released will not be used. Okay, na may revision hitabo. So we will wait for the revision, and I think the revision will not take that long. So siguro labing dugay na mga in 1 week time. So after midterm, the following week, okay, with your inputs and the inputs of the faculty, then the council will look into it and then revise the policy, and then there will be another or revised policy, as maybe as I will put it that way. There will be a revised policy after a week. Okay, but if there will be no other suggestions from the students and the members of the faculty, wala ba way changes, kay ang ending di ay pwede ra gyud di ay siya, kaya ra siya buhaton, and students can comply to that using mirror, for example, which is the cheapest way. And of course na provision man to siya, Zar, di ba, katong exemption. So if the students cannot really comply, na may provision nga the student will write an exemption letter, noted by the instructor, and noted also by the chair. And but before that, before the chair will forward the letter to the dean, the chair is expected to talk to the student. So for example, ikaw, Zar, you write a letter, yeah, endorsed by your teacher, na si, for example, si Sir Concepcion. So ipag-forward niya sa kuha, then I will talk to you. Okay? Ako kapangutaan mo, Zar, this is exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, Zar, kung sa mag-iimong problema dahil. Okay. Mo nilagi, sir. Okay. Can you please give me an idea how your place looks like? Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. When is your plan to comply the requirements? What I'm saying is, kung internet connectivity issue, wa de plano ang pamilya nga magpa-install og kuan kining fiber line ba connection. Wala, sir, kay ani mo na okay na amin na po diri, wala diri linya ana. Okay. How about kung kuan katong nakay what is this? Nakay relative, auntie baron or cousin nagpuyo near your place nga internet, why not use there? Or maybe your parents will arrange with your relative for the cost of internet para makagamit ka dito, something like that. So what I'm saying is, let's find ways. Ang ending ana is, I want to know from you, how could you comply with the guidelines in the future ba? Not necessarily immediate, because I understand you already mentioned you cannot comply it now, but I'm also expecting from you na you also have a plan how to comply the requirements in the future. Not immediate lagi. I understand that. Inana magina siya. So nagi possibility nga possibly ma-address ra gyud siya. Only that nga some students nowadays, siguro some students, I'm not saying all, are for whatever reason they don't like to comply the guidelines or to follow the guidelines, whatever reason. But I want, as for the ME department, it's always my heart's desire, for the ME students to follow the guidelines. But I understand not all of you have the capability to do that for now. But I'm expecting that the ME students will find ways to comply that in the future, maybe in the next semester, somehow, something like that. Okay, as you all know already, ang atong mode of delivery sa instruction sa CIT is online man yun. Wa may laing choice nato for now. It's always online, and we believe for us na this is the best tool that we have for now. Okay, so manang online kita, and that's why it's expected, since we have electives on using computers. So I'm also expecting, and I'm also going to talk to the first year soon, by next week, na dapat mo set aside ng itag budget to purchase a laptop that could satisfy the specification requirements for our electives, nga nagamit og mga computer softwares. Importante mo necessarily, how could you learn our electives if dependent kasi mong classmate na who has the unit? Okay, so I encourage you to consider those things. Maybe you don't have the capacity to do that now, but I want you to entertain the idea na in the near future, maybe next semester, pwede na nato ma-comply. Kamu man sa mamalanganin, anak God, kamu ba ang nasa piki ba? Labi nag-computer historya nato, laptop for the electives that we have. Masayangan ko sa opportunity to learn that subject. Yan, a lesson na ang imo na learn because of the capacity na di kapalit og laptop. So dapat appeal na siya sa plano sa pamilya, as a family, as a father, I should provide my children, of course di ba parihag financial status, I understand that, Oh, but that should always be the drive of parents. As far as I'm concerned as a parent, my desire is to meet the requirements needed by my students sa iyang pag-eskwela. That should be part of the plan. If you don't have the parents like that because oflisudyog ang kinabuhi, in fact, some of you probably are working students, that should be part also of your purchases plan of purchases in the future. Mag-save ko para I can buy this and that. And maybe I can start with buying kining mga refurbished bit mga laptops. Si Sir Tano, Engineer Tano ba? He's selling refurbished nga mga laptops, no? And good. In fact, my laptop I bought it from him. Okay, I bought it from him. Kaya akong laptop, gamit sa klase. I'm using now the desktop actually. I have desktop and I have a laptop. But my laptop, I purchased it from him a year ago. More than a year ago. So, barato siya, no? Mas barato. Yeah, you can start saving zero money for that. Okay? You can ask Sir Tano, Sir, how much is the cheapest laptop you have with this spec? At least i3 siguro, no? i3. Okay. Karon he's selling i7, i5, something like that. Kasi na i3, mas barato. So, kung tanong mo, pakibaw ka, okay. So, maybe next time makapalit ko, magtigum ko this much every week or every payday na ako. Kung working student ka, you can assign this amount para you can buy the laptop. Or maybe you can make arrangement with Sir Tano. I don't know if you will okay with this. Na you can have an installment plan arrangement with him. Diba? So you try your best to comply because this is all for you, not for anybody else. No? You just want to make sure that you get most, if not all, most what you need to receive and learn from your teachers. Sorry for saying that long. Sir, I hope I answered your question.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Okay, so someone is raising their hand in our Zoom chat, our Zoom meeting. Please turn on your microphone and camera. Harry.
Yes, Harry. Yes, si Harry.
Good afternoon, sir. I would just like to ask how will the council evaluate whether the dry run of the guideline would be successful without any biases, sir?
I can assure you that the council, as a member of the council, as a new member of the council, we don't of course personally na may mga biases, no? It's person naman ginay biases. And the reason why I could assure you that there will be no biases, the bias is always on fairness, okay? And a good thing, we have around 13 members in the council, all right? So, of course, first we will look into it on our own as members of the council. And after we formulated whatever revision, if there is, okay, we always consult. We always consult. That's a guarantee. We always consult. As I mentioned in the early part of this talk with me 4.0, I mentioned to you that the SSG were consulted 3 times. Okay? To be safe, 2 to 3 times na lang. Kaya manakuyawan hinong ko. Yung mga 2 to 3 times. They were consulted on the guidelines. And they consented, gave us the consent to have that guideline official. You ask them if my words are not true. We consulted them. So, na-consultation yung may tabo. So, since the SSG are the elected officers, and we trust that they speak in your behalf. That's how organization works. So we'll speak to the leaders. So they were consulted. After that, we also consulted the members of the faculty. We held a forum with the members of the faculty to get their opinions, their resistance. There were members of the faculty who resisted actually during the meeting and who poured out their opinion about it. And then, of course, we have to listen to the other side. Then after which, we also called for a meeting with the department chairs. The department chairs were also consulted, and we also asked for their opinion on that matter. So what I'm saying is, when fairness is at stake, is it at stake here? No, because we consulted all parties. So siguro, tell your SSG to be more transparent. Okay, if they don't like it, then they have to say they don't like it. Dili kay, okay, ma'am, okay, sir. Pero di sila ganahan deep inside, no? So that's an independent body magunang SSG. So you have the power to say no. you have the power to say yes. So why not be transparent during the consultation? Diba? So that's my challenge to them, actually. Okay, the way I look at it, they are playing safe. To be sorry for the word, but the officers are playing safe. Right? And that's disheartening. Okay, because they don't literally publicly accepted that they were consulted. Okay. I don't know this time if they have already said that, but in the first few days, they have not said anything about it. Plain yun ba? Straight yun ba? Wala yun. And that's unfair for me, in my opinion, as a chair of the department. So, Harry, that's an assurance. Everybody will be consulted for fairness purposes.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I hope na-answer ba ang ato ang question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So naay kanang isa ka question, sir, ba kanang gipaagi gyud man siya og PM. Wala na ba daw chance nga ma-extend hantod cluster 2 ang ME studies? Kay marag lisod jud kayo, sir, kay parang lisod jud siya, sir.
Extend ang sa to?
Ang ME studies, sir. Ang ME studies. Kanang
Same.
research.
Thesis, sir.
Thesis.
Sir, ba? Oo.
So sorry kayo, makuha na yun na. May extend sa second cluster? Actually, yes. Pwede man na siya. We call it INC ka lang. Because the members of the faculty are obliged to grade you at the end of a cluster because they will be penalized magod. Na may penalty na siya. Especially now, we have actually a new policy. I don't know kung na-post na ba, na-issue na ba in a form of a blue memo, but we crafted a policy with regards to the revision of penalties for late submission of grades para ni siya sa mga members of the faculty. I think currently, ang members of faculty, if they fail to submit the grades on time, they will be penalized by 40 pesos a day per subject. That's for a regular season or regular case. But if the student is applying for academic honors, wa pa mo kabasa na memo, marag wa pa siguro, no? Wa pa sa finalize. Okay, well anyway, advance na siya. There's actually a memo on that, possible memo. Maybe next week magawas na siya. Remember that the cut-off now sa scholarships academic nato sa upper class is 5% of the population and not more than 150 scholars every term. So that's the cut-off now. Okay, you know what? This was triggered because of what happened, no? Katong kalitong saka ang number of scholars nga 500, that was unprecedented nga stat, no? Imagine 500, and we cannot believe it. All of us cannot believe it, no? So why is it murag skyrocket, rocketed na increase ba? Okay, usually atong number of academic scholars are 100 nara sa 150, 140, usay busa ka 160. So basta inana mga 140 to 160. Inana rin siya every school year, magana lang na. Okay, but 500? We cannot believe it. Okay, we cannot believe it. And that's because of that na triggered, and we were told to revisit the policy, and that's why we were able to come up with that 2% cut off of the population of the previous population of which you were enrolled. For example, kanang scholars karon, that's 2% of last semester. Okay, ang basis pag compute. Okay nga. So ang maestro will be forced to give you a grade because the new policy that will be released soon, they will be penalized by 100, I believe, per student. Just imagine. So in this case now, the students will be required to submit a letter of intent of informing the faculty, including the department chair and the dean. Okay, copy for next month silang duha. The faculty will be informed by the student that he is buying or she is buying for academic scholarship. Meaning, karon, for example, karon, ino ni mo maestro nga, sir, kanang naga-aim yun ko nga academic scholar. And I want you to know na that's my goal, okay, every semester. So in other words, you have informed the teacher that you are vying for academic scholarship. And so therefore, as a hopeful scholar, okay, as a hopeful scholar, we are expecting you to comply all the requirements on time based on the agreed date of submission of requirements. Okay, so the teacher is made known about your intention of your goal on a semester basis, and so the teacher is obliged to give you a grade once not later than the deadline of submission of grades, no? So kung di ka submit, that means you will be given an INC grade. All right, you'll be given an INC grade, and that will disqualify you for academic scholarship once you have an INC grade, because INC should not be students with INC should not be given not be given a scholarship, because that's unfair for those who submit it timely, no? Wala ma INC. Okay, and I think that's fair. Okay, as head of the Office of Admission of Scholars for a long time, no? So money mahitabo. So ang faculty will be forced. I mean, because he will be penalized, okay, to submit the grades on time. Yeah, mahal na ba ang penalty niya per student pa yun, per student. So ma-force you to submit. So in your case, if you will delay the submission, then you will be in an INC if you will delay of submission of the requirements, and you will also disqualify for the scholarship. Academic, I'm talking about academic. Okay, so I suggest nga for those who are depending on academic scholarship for their schooling, and for those who are trying their best to become academic scholars, now then do your best to comply on time. Okay, don't entertain extensions. Okay, as much as possible, you do your best lang, best effort all the time. I know sometimes our best is not best enough, but okay lang. At least at your end, you can say, I've done my best. May importante diha, no? Just like, I talk to my child, ganaan ang parent, no? Ma-owner atong anak. Ganaan gyud na as parent, proud parents. But I always told my child, just do your best. Because if I observe that you're not doing your best and your grade is like this, then masuko gyud ko, di ba? But I've seen you and observed you, and you're doing your best. Nagyud ka, nagtrabaho yun ka sa imong mga academic requirements. I can observe that. I can see that with my 2 eyes. So, may ka, okay, imong grade is only 90. Okay na ka na. So at least, wa ka mahagdo. Okay? Secondly, kita mo ginako imong effort. Kontento na pa na. Di not necessarily nga top 1 kin na class. Okay ra ko, di ka mag-top 1. Basta kita ang effort. Pero kung wa kay effort, yung maingon ka na ko nga na hagbong bagyo ka, ade, masukog jud ko na. Di ba? Nyaon mo imong pag-submit sa imong mga requirements, masukog jud ko na as a father. But going back to your teacher, mo to siya, mayan sigid mo. So I suggest, okay, to all of you here and to those who will be listening this recorded video, best effort kita all the time. You submit your requirements on time. Okay? If you want to avail of other perks as a student. Okay? So ayaw entertain ang extension John Lloyd. Later na siya. Okay? Yung natong nagsuwat na, entertain ta karong idea na, I can do it. I can do it. Okay?
Okay, okay, thank you so much, sir, I guess. Okay, i-ask na natin nga Ate Zar ang question. Abin ako na follow-up question. Napabot ay follow-up question sa nga tuwang chats, or if na ay mga ganahan mo raise sa ilang hand, it would be the right moment to do so now. Also, we would like to acknowledge the presence of Sir Engineer Ronald Lazaro, a faculty and also a JPSME advisor. Good afternoon, sir, for attending this and e-talks. Thank you for attending the F. Okay, so nakapabot tayo mga questions nga ganahan natin i-raise.
Si Sheena Pantonial, gusto siya mag-ask a question. Sheena, what's your question?
Okay. Please turn on your microphone.
Good afternoon, sir. Wala ra kay question, sir.
Yung last part ako sinako, that was a joke actually. Thank you, Sheena.
Manawag din ni si sir, wala mag-klase ay. So
I
baka
encourage you. I encourage you to ask questions because this now is the best time to ask questions. Okay, usay man god, you'll receive wrong information, nya di kay klaro kaayo, nya you bank on that, you capitalize on that. So the more ma-clouded ang mga opinions sa mga tao, the more nga you'll create chaos. So as much as possible, talk to the right people and listen to them and ask questions. Okay. See, ask me question. Ganahan jud ko nagay mga utana.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, who is that?
Ay, sir. Naay. Si Ate Zar ani nag-ask, sir.
Oh.
Ko-answer ka ng regarding connection. Connected na siya sa kato ganing about sa thesis nga question, sir. But
Yes.
lahi siya nga koan like if ever nga mahatagan na grade, sir, ang thesis for the first cluster nya wala may thesis sa second cluster, sir, unsay buhaton nato ana, sir, sa thesis or kanang kuan lang gid, sir, up sa una.
Yeah, of course, kay semester man na. So by semester man itong offering. So what gina i-offer sa cluster 2 ang thesis 2, no? So I suggest that when you're done, if you're already at grade for your thesis at cluster 1, you start working now for the publication or simulation of the second cluster on your thesis. So that by second semester, so you're ready na, di ba? So kung na may buhaton niyo, polishing na lang, di ba? So na kay assurance nga you can complete the course, okay, with flying colors, di ba? So mas lighten ang load because you are ready for it. So that's the time that you will work on your thesis for whatever you need to do. So even if you already have a grade, say in cluster 1, don't rest. Instead, continue working your thesis on cluster 2 so that by second semester, you're ready for rumble. Meaning you're ready for whatever because you have it already.
Thank you so much, sir. So guys, any questions?
Oh, Ice, please allow me to add that one.
Yes,
Especially
sir.
for those na publication, no? Okay, some thesis proposals require publication. You should start working on the publication dayon after you have finalized the design, no? So siguro hagyod nga while you have vacant times, use that as an opportunity to work on your thesis. Remember this, there are a lot of students who cannot graduate on time because of their thesis. So I hope it will not happen to you. So thesis na to dapat ato ginanghatag ng thesis, ha?
Sir Rob, that's one of our questions po di ay, sir. Thank you for kanang mentioning that one, sir, ba if kanang modritso, if malahos ba jud ta sa publication, sir, sa atong setup or kutob ra ta sa simulation?
It depende sa proposal. That depends sa proposal sa student, di ba? Lahi mo mga proposals. So na yung mga proposals na among nadungog and approved na nag-require siya publication. So publication siya kay may proposal. It was from you. It was from the students. It's your proposal. So whatever you proposed and whenever it's being approved by the members of the panel, then you have to continue doing as expected. Kung publication, yun na. Kung simulation lang na-approve, then simulation na po siya, di ba? So depende na siya sa case-to-case basis. Depende sa na-approve na proposal.
Good afternoon, sir. Follow-up, sir. About example, sir, mag-publication, sir, kay allowed ang students na mag-meet for that, sir?
Oh, why not? Inyohan na ng prerogative, how will you meet? You can meet online for discussion purposes, right? You can do that. We have been doing that. Online lang ang atong mga discussions. So, sa mga designs, kaya you can share screen, di ba? You can share screen, tanawin ninyo ang mga calculations and designs, so kita ninyo. But as to the publication na, that means somebody among the group is in charge of that, of going to the publicator or going to your house. Kisa itong si tawagan ni, na backyard nga workshop, sa ilang balay, they have the tools, so dito mo, magtrabaho mo. Silang balay. But of course, I'm expecting you to observe health protocols, no? Right? Lisod na kayo na COVID mo tungod sa inyong pagsikig meet. So observe health protocols all the time. Okay, Sar.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any questions, guys?
Any more questions?
Tamtan na pa sila, sir.
Si Dixie, murag mo tanang si Dixie Loring. Okay, Dixie, what's your question?
No question, sir.
No question. Maulo malagi. Kinayo lang magkauuwaw. Akala si Eman, kimutan lagi ni si Eman. Eman. Is that your question, Dominic?
Wala pa karon, sir. Wala
Wala
pa.
pa. Naguna. I encourage you, basta na yung mga forum like this. This is the best venue to talk about issues para ma-enlighten mo. Okay? Mamagunang usahay. I understand sa inyo hamong yun nga state good, mga idealistic pa kayo, mga bata pa man mo. We were once like that. Idealistic sa kayo. Okay? I was a student officer also. I was a JPSME officer. I was a president. I was a SNC officer. I was the Speaker of the House during my term, during my time. So I know exactly what's the kind of mindset that you have as students. Idealistic ita. But when you become professionals, just like us now, in our stage, then you will realize nga, kato akong gibuhat sa una, sayo pa daya to eh. I mean, nagpadala lang ko sa akong emotions, nagpadala lang ko sa akong paka-idealistic. Okay? But that's part of growing up. It's okay. It's part of growing up. But I'm expecting more from the ME students to be more to be more fair when it comes to posting messages in social media. I think the word there is responsible. Be more responsible in posting messages. Kanang, you know what? Believe me or not, but believe me na lang. We will know who you are by the way you speak and the way you post messages. So it's whatever you post in social media that speaks a lot about you actually. Believe me. And I know already from one look of the way you post your message, the way you made it, I could say you are this kind of a person. You are this and that. And HR people in the industry, HR people, be careful with this because of data analytics. And since we have already available data through the net, be careful with this. HR people will be looking into what you posted in social media. So, of course, if I am an employer, I would rather choose people in my organization who are not labad in my ulo. Of course, natural na siya, di ba? People who can contribute to my organization, not contributing chaos in my organization. So you have to be careful with this. So, but I'm not saying freedom of speech, ako curtail or I will prevent you from doing such. No, that's not my point. My point is be responsible lang in your post. Okay, do not just post anything out of emotions because that will greatly affect you in the future. Believe me, it will surely affect you in the future. So, manang mas maayo siguro nga before you post, think multiple times if pwede na to i-post niya or dili. And this is disheartening because when I see the posts from ME students, I feel sad actually because some of these students na ME murag pataka lang yung istorya, no? Di lang kamo gid mo basa. Mapatuya lang sa gibati. Ayaw ana. Okay? If you are confused, then talk to the right people. Naman ko, I'm always available. I made it clear to you. So kung confused mo, nami issues niya, naglibog mo unsay pasabot ani, then talk with me. I'm okay with that. And I can give you enlightenment. If you don't like what I said, tell me. Tell me what mo kauyon sa gisulti. Akong explanation so that I will also know nga sayop day akong paka-istorya and then I can relay that to other people with the same capacity as I have para kay bawsan sila nga uy murag sayop day na siya no something like that. So talk to the right people, don't just post anything. Okay, that speaks a lot about you actually. Okay, mabita ka batiod ka kanay mga couples mag-away i-post pag yun sa Facebook. Ginoo ko mas guod jud kog tan-aw na labi nag akong kaila. Okay, you are now putting your spouse in a bad light. Nya humandi ay maguli ra pud mo. Ginoo ko. That should not be the case. All right? So ayaw padala sa emotions. Talk to the right people. All right? I hope next time none of the ME students will be doing the same mistake. In my opinion, mistake, no? Okay. Storya lang, hindi man lang gani mangonsulta. Okay? So Okay, what else? Question na. Nagamay ang mangutana. Oy, kadaghan niyo si Maricel, si Rex Smile sa iyang picture. Di mangutana. Okay.
Okay, is there any more follow-up questions for the consultation for this afternoon? Please do not be afraid to turn on your microphones or raise your hands or raise your concern through our Zoom chat. Basta pwede mo PM na diretso kung ganahan mo ma-raise niyo siya nga inquiry.
Yes.
Okay, kinsa man dira ang may questions? Kay marag nagkuso ni sugod na biya og ulan diri sa amo
Na hinay na po na ng connection.
Wag tang manigalit ron.
But rest assured, be rest assured that the members of the faculty were told to be lenient, all right? Because we understand nga di ta pareha o sitwasyon. So that's why I always mention si Sir Ron, si Ma'am Chin can attest to this. And in our meeting, I always emphasize that there should be certain level of leniency when we implement the guidelines. All right. So motto siya. Ayaw mo kahadlok. It's good that John Lloyd mentioned that. And John Lloyd, and now I remember, may siguro sa atuang Gavel Club, who is now the champion for our Gavel Club? Si
Ivan, sir. Nya karon
si Ivan rin, si Ivan? Wala.
Nasakit man si Ivan, sir.
Boy, nasakit si Ivan, kaluwisan. How is he now?
Ako ay yung last na mga yung last announcement ato sir kay murag under observe paano man siguro to siya sir under observation kato na wait kasi officers diri nga maka-attest sa kuan ni Van kay through
you don't have to elaborate you don't have to give us the details, but again okay lang. I know now that Ivan is sick and we pray that he will get well very soon. Okay, now please to the other na lang headmasters nato dyan, JL, i-mention na lang siguro is a good kanang topic no about the guidelines ba, sort of table talk maron or a little form of debate, something like that for educational purposes. Okay.
Sige sir. That will be noted.
That's a good topic. That's a good topic siguro, JL, di ba?
Yes sir. That is actually quite trivial.
So let's hear katong pro and cons, di ba? Maginana ito the positive negative sides, and let's hear from them. Surely we'll learn from them.
Yes sir, that is truth sir. So ako na ipaingon sa advice ay sa mga kuan sir, officers karon sa Gavel. Hello. Parang
Because sorry, dog na.
Okay. Kalit mag-black kalit. Okay. So, any more questions or follow-up questions from our chat participants? Kay murag na ginahinay nag-drop mga to participants, no? If wala na, maybe we can proceed na sa ato ang follow-up.
Before we proceed na
ay nakaisa ni siya.
Ani siya marag mga siya advice ka Sir Base if naaba daw kaila si Sir or ika-suggest nga kanang mo fabricate sa kanang mga thesis samot na sa mga machine design.
Actually, daghan mga fabricators actually. When it comes to precision, if the project requires precision,
plus me daw fabricator.
Naay kanang Primacore, no? Kanang Primacore, pero I believe that's expensive. Okay, kay kuam ko nila precision mo ko nila so gamit yung CNC with this tolerance only, something like that, and all other mechanical parameters. So kana usa na siya. And there's also I suggest you kana lang kana murang mag strolling lang bitaw along the highway. O kita gyud kag mga machine shops. Okay? Basta makita na kag na yung mga lathe machines, na yung mga welding machines. Okay, kana shop na siya, no? Basi kaya nila. So you consult sa Milanilla, there's also one. Doon sa may tungkop. Tungkil. Doon tungkil na isa diha ka fabricator sa Talisay na daghamong fabricators Talisay. Di ko ka name names, but you just stroll, magmotor ba ron inyong friends around the city, along the highway, you can see actually a number of fabricators or machine shops. Of course, you have to, depende sa ilahang skills availability there and capacity to do the job, no? So manang imo pa istorya kung kaya ba nila og dili nga job. after you have the complete design of your project. Okay, there's also a lot in Mandawi, daghan kayo sa Mandawi. Okay, when it comes to public, sometime, before the pandemic, I went with the student group just to check on issues on madili ba, dili sige sila ingnon sa publicator nga pamahuman nya dugay na kaayo nya di na sila kahatag grado kay sige ingon na publicator pamahuman mo to ni adto ko. So I went there in Mandawi near Pacific Mall ba tawag diha. No, anyway, I went there and then there's a publicator there. Dako siya and I talked to the owner, CIT graduate man sa di ay. And so at least natagig favor nga ihatag priority ang ilang project. That's also a problem actually, no? Some publicators dawat lang yang problema di ay di na sa kaapas sa deadlines. So that's why you have also to ask to the publicator if can you assure us that you can finish this by this date? Okay. What will happen, sir, if you cannot do it? I mean, kami man malanganin, sir, because magraduhan mo gud mi, ma-INC we cannot avail scholarship and so on and so forth. So I hope that there is some way of kanang accountability on the part of the publicator. So make it clear to them, all right? I think the best person siguro Ice to answer that question is Engineer Patuno or Engineer Tano, because these two people are into that mga technical expertise into publication, so they can relate to what you are talking about was a publication. So sila nga ngayon yun pangutanon.
Thank you so much, sir. So murag maura to siya, wala na ilain concerns diri.
Naapay ni chat na pati ay ako pag ipa-verify ang anong structure sa questions, no? Okay, naago na certain mga instance, sir, nga na-happen na siya sa ilahang ME lab. I guess this is ME lab. Yeah.
ME lab.
Ang ihang gi-ikuan ako, sir, answer na ko if allowed ba daw ni. Kay iyang ME lab 2 daw, among experiments ang pangbuhat kay pang ME lab 1. Kay ilang lab 1 daw sa una ang na-take di ay kay ang lab 2 nga experiments. So karon ang tanang lab 1 daw nga experiments then kabuok ang ilang gihimo before midterms. Anya after daw midterms kay magbuhat pa sila og lab 2 nga experiment sad. Ilaha daw lab 1 sa una kay kang Sir Malunhaw nya ilang experiments gipabuhat kay pang lab 2 unta di ay to. Karon kay si Sir Conception daw kay gahimo mga lab 1 nga experiments. So marag karon nahitabo ilang lab 1 nga experiments, sir.
Okay lang away duplication, no? Sa ko, in my opinion, if there's no duplication, that will be perfectly okay. All right? Ang issue there is the duplication, doing the same experiment. Now, if you still recall, I posted through ICE, I posted an announcement on that during the enrollment period, even before we started the enrollment period, to make the students aware of the situation. Okay? Hitabo manggod, it's the first time that this is the first school year sa inyo nga batch raman, no? na abot sa lab 1, lab 2, something like that. And so expected na siya kay lahig maestro ang nahitabo lang ato wa mag-communicate ang duha ka maestro, which I already told them to communicate pero wa day mag-communicate. So nahitabo they just look at the what is this, the CMO and they only apply those na they can do it. I mean, in the class and with available resources. So, nahitaboy noon, what magka-synchronize ang ilahang mga activities. So, moto nga I posted and I asked the help of ICE to make this known to everyone na when you are under this, you should be enrolled in this. Okay? If you're under to this person, they should enroll in this section, something like that. So, it's about sectioning. Okay, and that was the reason for that. Okay, in order there will be no duplication, and I believe, although I'm not confidently sure, na kato nag-question na posible ba sigwa siya ka-observe adto nga guideline, no? Instruction na you should enroll in this section if you enroll last term in that section, something like that. So, moti usas nakakuan sa problema karon. But okay lang kung kuan. Okay lang kung walay duplication. But ang problema ang duplication. But again, probably you were not able to follow the instructions that I gave through the help of ICE as posted sa Facebook para you will be guided sa involvement. I think that's the reason why. But because of that lesson learned, nautingkaya na siya during our faculty meeting, and I had a separate meeting with the people involved, the members of faculty, and we had a discussion on that. So hopefully it will not happen again. Okay. So meaning, sorry for that. Naigo kakaron. Okay. For that problem. It's the first time to implement. So usually bas mga first time to implement cases like that, naigay mga problems mugawas ba, which we fail to predict to happen, to identify beforehand. So I thought they talked already, but they didn't, di ay. So wa sa ko mag-follow up. So salig lang ko nga ila to gi-comply buwa di ay. But anyway, sorry for that, no? But let me know lang for kung nag-duplicate so that I can talk to the teachers concerned. Kaya pwede man siya ibalin silang section because I think they are handling both different more than one section. Okay, so if nag-duplicate siya, pwede na yung maestro nga, can you transfer this to the other section? Maybe not now, maybe next cluster ka na kung dili conflict sa schedule. Okay, para to satisfy lang yun nga di siya mag-duplicate. All right? Para more ang na-learn sa student. Sorry for that. But let me know lang sa progress about this if duplication so that I can make the arrangement. Communicate. So please, you take the opportunity to communicate me through MS Teams, no? Although I cannot promise na immediately I can give you the answer, I can immediately reply to your message, but I promise that I will reply soon. Okay, mamingkamot sa ko ug tubag. The officers here can attest to that.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I guess the answer na ang question, no? Nya may tag nang take note ba nga okay ra nga wala to na-solve na to siya nga issue. Karon sir kay naa gihapon ni PM nako sir, murag another question pero kani siya kay regarding sa regarding ni siya sa ang thesis siguro ni. Ay the project study.
Research gapon.
Yeah, research gapon. Okay, so nag-question sir ana daw nilang instructor sa ME project study na i-approach na lang daw ang mga panels para sa approval sa title kaya wala na may defense. Nya ang issue daw karon sir kay si Sir Tunob dili daw mga scene sa ilaha, nya dili lang daw sa ilahang grupo, pati na lang po daw sa uban kay di po daw masin. Pwede ba daw ana kay buhaton sir para masin na niya o ma-replyan na ang ilahang mga kuan?
Oh yes, immediately after this, I will send a message to Patuno. If he cannot reply me within the day, then I will make a call.
Okay, thank you, sir.
It's mga examples like that. That's very important. Nga. You have to name names para I will know. Kasi akong kontakon yun.
Nagpa-anonymous man sila, sir. So okay na sir. Ako na lang gi-anonymous.
Oh, okay. I can protect your identity. Even if I know who you are, I can protect your identity. I will not mention names.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
kaya pag istoryan ako sa teacher po, general man akong style. So di siya kahint. Hopefully he cannot hint kinsa akong pasabot. Even mga reklamo, kana legitimate man na siya kay wa mag-reply, but na kanang mga reklamo about teachers. Oh, I can hide your identity. Okay. If the issue is about me, okay, ang problema kasi ako ulon kung si Sir Basi ang akong ka-issuean So the dean, you talk to the dean. Okay? Oh, you communicate to the dean. MS Teams. You capitalize on MS Teams because all of us are into MS Teams. Ang kanang email, dakog chance pa nga din ako ba? Ako di kay ko tigbasa og emails because of so many messages or emails ba. And manang mas maayo MS Teams because ang admin work na ako na si MS Teams. So mas maayo na ako din hang students concerns. MS Teams is the best platform.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Okay, napabatay ko napabatay laing mga pangutana, pareho kong PM na ako daan, no? Okay, so murag wala na maguro. Murag wala na. Okay, murag wala na jud, sir. So may we request everyone to please turn on their cameras para intan sa atong photo up, no? Alihog na kog on sa itong mga cameras. Thank you kayo sir no sa pag-attend karon nga ME Talks kay marag version 4 na dyan sir. Marag sige na lang sa kag-attend sa kaning ME Talks.
John Lloyd, I'm happy that JPSME has this kind of initiative. I even love to meet you on a regular basis, not just whenever there is an issue. So probably you can schedule it regularly, for example, once a month. I don't know with you. Oh, so mahalag walay ta istoryahan for once a month, mas may mag-meet ta kay out of the blue basig na ay sulod si una-una ba nga angay istoryahan, something like that, no? So we can address it immediately, di ba? We don't have to wait for that issue to come.
Naano na lang ate ay sir.
Regarding that, sir, ba, di ba, nagtabi naman ta na, sir, niya, na-postpone siya kay busy to pag una ang faculty niya. Sir, nagunahon na mig ipangan sa iya, ha, sir, ba, sa atong event niya na, yan ay ni suggest, sir, nga, chismis daw niya. Ang miss kay ME, sir, ba, naglibo ko sa pangutan na, sir, but mo, mag-schedule niya, may po, sir, nga kanang free na sa ang faculty, sir, kanang regular meeting na to.
Yeah, let's make it regular kay para ma-address na to dayon. In other words, medyo proactive ta. Okay? Yeah, for example, meet ron, for example, sa meeting niya, kumugawas ang guidelines. I can talk about it to you, no? Basta importante nga, it's for approval na may mga points there. So we can talk already about it. And hopefully, I can draw some suggestions from you or during the formulation pa lang siguro, we have talk about it and then so you can give inputs so I can help also that bring to the table. Something like that. So I'm open for occasions like this. I really love to see you and talk about it.
Sure. Kasi pwede maka-screenshot. Send lang sa GC ha. Sige, 1, 2, 3, smile guys. Yay. Okay na to siya, no?
Okay na, no?
O sa kabuo, punan. Sige, thank you, Mark. Okay na.
So I guess.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you to Ma'am Sheila, thank you to Sir Ron for joining also, no?
Thank you, Sir Ron. Thanks,
Thank
Ma'am
you,
Sheila.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sir
Thank you.
Basing.
All right, bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. That is the end.
So Joyce and the rest of you, please help us to pacify everyone, huh? I try to explain the good side of the guidelines. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Basta kung may confusion, bring it to the right avenue or venue. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you,
sir. Bye, sir.
God bless everyone. God bless. Maabot nga
Stay updated guys ha, para
guys.
sa mga kuan. Follow lang mo sa page sa JPSME. Sige, bye-bye.